Hey guys, it's so beautiful to connect with you. It's such a blessing to be of service in this way and to share with you these messages that I want to offer today. These words, these energies, this sound comes from the sacred keepers of the fire. These are beautiful multidimensional beings of light, teachers, who have come with a message for the torchbearers of Gaia. The torchbearers of Gaia is you and me. So I'm just going to read you their message and then we'll go a little bit deeper as well. The light of the sacred flame pierces through the hearts of man. This light fire, this life fire is the breath of life. It is here to unite as one with the great Earth Mother. Within you, within me, there is the great holy blaze of light, of fire. This is the source life energy, the blaze of the eternal sun, and the light and the song of the sound of you. We have lived out of resonance with this light, with this fire. And in doing so, we have been disconnected from the energetic harmonic of our planet as well. The fire bearers, the firekeepers, these beings who have lived through this age before, come with the message that now is the time for the torchbearers of Gaia to wield their mighty sword, to wield the blade of Excelsior, the blade of truth, the blaze of the fire, to come alive in themselves and to make synchronicity, synergy, harmony with your planet, with our planet Gaia. When we do this, when we harmonize ourselves fully and powerfully, this creates a union. And in this union, we unite the great crystals that live beneath the skin of Gaia. These great crystals in my visions, these look very much like a grouping of a cluster of crystals, if you can imagine that, but extremely huge, like miles or kilometers and kilometers wide and across and tall. A great crystal. The great crystals have been kept in the memory body, so to speak, of Gaia, until we are ready to unite within ourselves an activation, a pulsation for them to rise. And these crystals are our memory. They are kind of like a library, but energetic. And so library is even a limiting word. It is not mental, it is remembrance. It is embodiment of that light. So these beings were saying that it is our choice and the time is now, and it is our choice now to anchor ourselves into the planet, to allow these great crystals to rise. When these great crystals can rise, when we are in that kind of harmony and synergy with our planet, we create resurrection. We are in the time of resurrection. It is new life. There is death, but there is life. There is, and it is resurrection. We create the Holy Trinity within ourselves when we offer ourselves as keepers of the light and alignment for ourselves, spiritual life force, and Gaia. The Firekeepers were saying and reminding you, reminding me, that we are ready to remember if we should choose. From the depths of our own bodies come the crystals that live in Gaia's body. We are in a harmonic relationship with her. What is restored in us can be restored in her. There is no getting around this relationship that we have with the consciousness of our mother, of our planet. The Firekeepers ask this of each of us now, to allow our spiritual essence to make tone with the mother so that she might birth her holy name. She might birth her true sound and become the new life that we have all lived many lifetimes for. The Lightbearers, we must unite. As we rise together through the purity of our hearts, therein is the coming together of the great memory of humanity. The great crystal alignment can begin anew. These crystals in the mother's bodies are also akin to, and may act as or be seen as, temples. These were great temples that we once held. We once held our own holy name in these temples of light. As we become the temple within, our memory of the temples can resurrect. And I saw this in visions. I saw this as truth. The memory of the temples, these rise up through the skin of our planet. These great crystals rise up through the skin of our planet. And in doing so, when we can create the alignment needed for that to then happen, when that happens, the light of the star Alcyone and the light in the stars of memory, again, more than memory, the sound, the song of who we truly are, of what we have forgotten, can come through into those crystals in our field, in our Gaia, and resurrect the memory of the temples. It's kind of like, because the temples that we used to have, that was a key part of their job, was to hold the alignment, to be anchored in root points of Gaia, and then to pull the star energy and the star sound and the star memory. So that is why if we resurrect our memory, if we continue to remember and embody and tone at the correct alignment and align to our planet, it will result in the return of these beautiful temples and the return of the stars coming down, reminding us who we are and teaching us what we think we have forgotten but have merely fallen out of resonance with. Isn't that beautiful? As we hold the fire in our hearts, we call out to Gaia. We sing. When you hold the fire in your heart, it begins to sing to the planet, to the earth. This means to be in your heart and to live as truth. When you come into your heart and you essentially go in here, and then you create this singing tone, you have the opportunity then to say yes to that remembrance that lives, that is, by coming into alignment with the core of the planet, with the heartbeat of Gaia. This is about aligning your harmonic, which is this, into the harmonic or in the same range of the harmonic of Gaia. Our hearts align. That is the position that we want to be in. And as we remember, we have the opportunity to do that. As we do this, and if we do this together, whether physically together or not, we become as a drum. We become as a drum that grows louder and louder and louder, synergizing with the planet, so that that resonance can begin to hold itself longer and longer and steadier and steadier. And in that pulsation, that beating of the drum, Gaia is able to complete her birth process. We are an integral part of her birth process. We must come into attunement with her for her to be able to receive that receive that alignment to begin her birthing process even more deeply, to allow it to fully take hold, take effect. When we create this alignment, we let the lion cross. The lion is a symbol for great light, great power, and great courage. And when we let the lion cross, we step into the dawning of this new age. And this is what the Firekeepers want us to know, that now is the dawning of the new age. Now is the time for all to see the truth of the heart in themselves and to shine. We are asked to burn the sacred torch louder and louder and brighter and brighter. We will go into resonance with one another, and we will go into resonance with our planet. And then her birthing is unstoppable. This is the alchemy of fire. That fire is your spiritual essence. It is the blaze of life force that you are. And I was seeing and I was shown this beautiful sword that, when pointed to, was called Excelsior, because using the sword, using the blade of fire, is to divine through great will, to pierce with the truth. And this great sword, this great fire, is what creates alchemy. Alchemy is when we combine or dissolve or merge things into a new state. This is the fire, and we are in the time of the fire. We are the torchbearers, and we are also the wearers of the throne and the keepers of the blade. We are a light in the song in the heart of man. We are all singing the same song. You might feel separate. You might feel alone at times. But the blaze in me is the same as the blaze in you. And so you need me to attune to that blaze, and I need you to attune to that blaze. And we can cultivate a mastery of this experience. And we can cultivate a truth in this experience that is stronger and brighter than any falsities that are here. That is the purpose. That is the way. So I'll just keep looking at my notes for a moment. It's important that we remember and really realize that our earth, she is changing. She is, the best metaphor is a mother preparing for birth. So her body changes. And she is bathed in a white holy fire right now. There is all of this white light of purification all over her being, coming through the portals of the sun, the stars of Alcyone, and our own blaze, our own fire. And so she must change, and so she is. And in doing so, as I said, we can create resurrection for ourselves, our consciousness of man, and the consciousness of our planet. She is going forth. It is only, do we choose to go forth with her? And do we choose, how do we choose this transition? Do we wish to be in harmony with our planet? Or do we push against? Or do we not take responsibility of our own harmonic and what it's doing in resonance with the harmonic of Gaia? What is your harmonic doing in the resonance with Gaia? Are you able to align to allow the synergy that is needed for birth for the third force to be created? If not, that's okay, because you have the guidance here from the Firekeepers. So I'm looking at the steps that they kind of gave for a bit of a mini process. It's very loose because everybody is an individual, and it's essentially that we need to attune to the sound of the planet. So you could see it as the center of the planet. We attune to our center. So you would attune to your center as purely as you can and have that fire going. Will your fire with your divine will to blaze. And then in a balanced way, and then allow a connection to happen with the core of the earth. Visualize or feel. The best thing with energy is resonance is really about feeling. So it is best if you can feel it. Imagery and things like that can be used as a stepping stone, a stepping to feeling. See how you go with that, if you can hold that energy, if you can sense the Mother Earth energy while you're doing that. There will come a point where you've got it sensed, and then it's simply to allow the great memory to happen. And this means that you allow, so you don't need to do anything. And that's the process of synergy. Synergy is my influence, the influence of spiritual will, or many times nature, earth, the divinity that comes through nature, and then allowing surrender. In that action, you may be asked to, or revealed to, let go of veils of deception. There may be things that release, or you may come into just a stronger sound or a feeling of acceptance. So as you hold yourself in this position, you'll be able to begin to feel the resonance of yourself and of our planet. And then you might have the intention to honor the message of the Firekeepers and the role of the TorchBearers. And so it is. So now that I've gone through the message specifically, I'm going to talk a little bit more generally and also about my experience, because I think it might help us to process this and to really get clear on what and how, if that makes sense. So ultimately, this is asking us to have the correct alignment for this shift. There's a correct energetic alignment and an incorrect energetic alignment that you want to have for this kind of experience. And as you can hear, it is paramount. It is of paramount importance. It's not only for the planet, though that is very needed and our responsibility. It's also for your well-being. So if you can go through this turbulent experience in a place of resonance with your heart, which might feel like peace, stillness, love. Lots of different people have different tones they find here. And you want to have that resonance with the planet. And that can feel, I'll say that when I connect with the planet and I know I'm connected, I'm able to release distorted energy. So my mind will settle down, my physical body will feel more still and calm, relaxed. My breathing might relax. And because I love Gaia, and this might be you too if you're a spiritual person, sometimes I feel the great love between our two hearts. So then there can be some waves of like positive emotions as well. There can also be a nurturing, a receiving, because when you connect with the planet, there's primary kind of things that happen One is neutralizing or diffusing energy. So energy is kind of like electrical and like heightened when we're in false or artificial energy fields, or we have charged emotions in our bodies, in our energy body. Those have this kind of wavelength of being charged, and it's like that's, and that's why it doesn't feel good. That's why it does not feel good. It's like scattery, spotty, uncomfortable, lots of different things, and lowering, especially with the lower emotions. We want to have that calm, neutral feeling that you might get after, a good period of meditation, or you might start to feel as you go into nature and your body starts to relax. So that's why the body starts to relax, because when you connect, you'll automatically start releasing, because the Gaia has a neutralizing effect. She's sort of, I'll say she's connected to the 0 point field, and this is a neutralizing quality that she has, or diffusing. And the other thing that happens is that you receive. So we neutralize and we receive nurturing energy, balancing energy, nourishing energy. I think that it's kind of like receiving your life force, though that tends to more come up from the spiritual life force of all that is. But kind of like the life force that your physicality needs. That's kind of what we get from Gaia. I think that's the best way to put it. And we also get that love, that just nourishment from her, that offering from her. So if you're connected, you should feel some of the flavors of those things. And in your own heart, as I said, your kind of emotions of peace and love. And this is the position. This is how we want to hold ourselves, just in your day-to-day or in longer meditations. Obviously, if you practice certain positions of energy, it's going to be easier for you to hold that. It's going to be more of a frequent habit in your energy system, in your being. That's why we practice frequencies. So if you're holding that, you feel calm and you feel balanced, and it's easier for you to stay balanced even in a really turbulent situation. It's also easier to diffuse the emotions that might come up as your body tries to hold that alignment. It'll probably try to purify as well. And that can result in feeling things and releasing things, as was stated. But again, if you're holding yourself well, you can release that, you can allow that. And so this is the why that we want to be having this energetic position for yourself. I think it also merges you with the new Gaia, so to speak, okay? So if your energy can hold that, you're going to be able to hold and have relationship with the new Gaia that has that same energy consistently. And that's what's necessary. I think it's even going to, affect when you travel over to that new earth, so to speak. So yeah, we want to think about that. As the guides were saying, if you can hold that energy, Gaia can allow the memory of man to return, the great crystals to rise in her consciousness. We are giving our permission for that to rise. The stars can come into better alignment. We really affect everything here. We know that. We must take responsibility for it. Gaia will do it with or without us, but we can have an easier transition, and we can respect our role on the planet, and we'll need to hold this in the new earth by practicing this and doing this. So we need to do this. And I'm going to give you a kind of example of what we're trying to express here. So when you have those alignments, and then you, as I said, you hold this, and then you allow. That is the process of the third force, or synergy. And that is how life forms. That's the great three. That's the birthing. And then we could say that that position right before the birthing, right, is harmony. That's what it means to be in harmony. And harmony is the part just before the birth. And harmony is the invitation and the doorway for that new third force kind of life. Like if you're creating something, that something else, that new light to come in and to be allowed in. It's the receiving, it's the invitation, and you must be in harmony. So that's how Gaia works, and that's how her process is going to work, and that's how it's going to work for us. So it's so cool. I love it. I was going to say that when I was walking in nature the other day, I was thinking about this, and I was practicing kind of this, and I was just sort of talking with the guides and myself, and like kind of like, what does this mean? Like, how do I do this? Like, what's going on? And I just found a still point. So I was walking with no shoes, as I do. This connects you to Gaia more. And I was able to, after a certain period of just being and holding myself in an alignment as relaxed as I could, it seemed like something shifted, and I was connected to Gaia in the range of harmony. And it felt different. It felt like I was a part of the isness of life. I was, in a felt sense, in an energetic sense, in a very real way for me, a part of life. I was in the great web of love. And so I could feel the connection with the trees and the connection with the animals. And I was observing this and noticing and learning, noticing that they are all connected to this harmony constantly, all the time. They're very living in an awareness that they are connected, that we are all one. And that they are one with the plants and with the earth and her skin and all of it. And when I did that, my energy felt so good. I felt very calm and relaxed and in the isness which I had prayed for. And when I started coming out of the forest and started getting back around people, what I was really noticing was, as I still held it, was a difference between the way that the animals and myself in that moment, because I was still walking in that field of harmony, and other people. I was noticing the difference there. And the difference is that the humans are not connecting to this harmony, the great web of life. We are living, I was seeing people walking past and hearing the noises of the cars that we've built, and seeing and sensing, like, rubbish on the ground and the conduction of that against the skin of Gaia. And that's false, it's artificial, it's not in her web of life. And then for the life that we are, so for the humans I was watching, we are there but not there. We're not connected to the planet. And we're living in this like weird, like over here kind of weird like energy field. Like that's the wrong word, but like other way of ourselves, other kind of point of being, of life, of consciousness. We're living to the side of something. We're living outside of that web of life. And it's like this ridiculous dream. It's kind of like people viewing them kind of like they're sleepwalking and they've gone over here. And when that happens, it's like we're not connected. And so to be in this harmony that the guides recommend and need us to do, and our planet needs us to do, and you need you to do to move through this fully, is to be in the web of life. And that is something that naturally happens when you align to your heart and to the planet. I am in the isness. I am in the realm, the range of the third force. I am, if I should so choose, able to create, rather allow. Creation in nature is allowing. It is a receiving process, a surrender and alignment process. It is not a sort of direct, masculine, forward moving thing. It's something that just is when you're in the correct alignment. That's how we want to be for this transition. That's how we want to be. And we can do that. And I was getting some memories of like the previous time when the planet was really changing and shifting, and how bad it was if you were not in that harmonic, and how it affected your death process if you were not held in if you did not feel that you were in that web of life. So I feel that it's very important. I'm just thinking if there's anything else to share. So I'll tell you more about when they were talking about the time is now, the time is now. I was sensing these beings around the sun, so around the great fire in our sky, and I was being shown, and what they're talking about is, yes, it's the time is now, but also they're talking about how they were showing me that the veil between the past and the future is really gone. Has been a dissolution of time. There has been a recent dissolution or changing of the function of time. Because, and that's when they say, and guides do this a lot, they say magical things. They say the time is now. Do you hear that? There is no time. There's only now. That's what that means. That's what that says. And I could see that it was something that was happening in the kind of like the fields of energy across the front of the sun. And there was great fire light language kind of being burned into or played out into that area of things. And I think it was representative of DNA and shifting consciousness, and the sun is a great influencer for time. So it makes sense that it was there in that position, and that these beings are fire bearers, okay? I think at one point they're also sort of could be thought of as timekeepers, but it's almost like a different collective or a different group of beings, but they're connected is what I should say. And I remembered that we would dance the fire dance in this time of the changing suns, in this time of the time of now. We would have to remember our sacred fire dance. And in this channeling that I brought to you just now, when they were speaking of we must unite and we must call the sacred drum of this resonance, this heartbeat getting louder and louder and louder, there were visions of people and humans gathering in fields and streets with drums and great tribal like outfits and things, and really doing a very, very huge, like hundreds of people, if not maybe like 1,000, of a ritual, and we would call in the sacred time of now. And so we are really invited to do this again. You've done this before. You've done this before. So thank you all so much for being here. It's such a blessing and an honor to be of service in this way for each of us, the torchbearers, to shine our light.